Automotive, I fix everything.
Today's project is to replace a leaking natural gas shutoff valve. Here's the tools and equipment I used to replace the gas valves and the gas lines. I purchased the Klein ET120 from an online source for approximately $120. This video requires a little background information. The trouble began when the gas bill spiked. The gas company came to the house and did an inspection. They found a leaking gas valve at the back of the stove. So they replaced the valve and capped the line and performed a new leak check, only to find another leak. They were unable to determine the source of the leak, so they decided to replace the gas line from the street to the house. Because of code changes, they relocated the gas meter up to the house. They also reinstalled a new service line from the meter to the house. This is a mobile home and the line is running underneath the house. Once again, they checked the gas lines for leaks and found no leakage. So I removed the plug from the gas valve and reconnected the gas line to the stove. A couple weeks later, they discovered they lost their records and had to dig it up and get the numbers off the gas valve as shown here. The next time I tried the stove, the burners would not light. I called the appliance repair service, and the first thing he discovered was there was no gas from the meter. Secondly, he would not repair the stove without replacing the original equipment flexible gas line. My first order of business was find out why I had no gas service. Because no one was home when they dug up the line for the inspection, they shut off the gas valve and capped the line internally to prevent the gas from being returned to service until somebody could come in the house and do a full gas leak check. The gas company removed the seal and pressurized the system. They marked the needle position on the gauge with a grease pencil so they could determine if the gas was flowing. The leak check passed and the house gas service was resumed. Instead of paying another appliance repair service call, I decided to replace the gas line myself. As I began to unhook the line, I noticed a tag that said "Do not reuse." This line was installed with the stove back in 1999, but the furnace and the gas water heater lines were installed with the house in approximately 1982. So I removed all of them and took them to the store to match them up with new lines. I purchased the stainless steel lines from a local supply house for approximately half the price of the brass lines available at the big box stores. They even included 2 stainless steel male adapters. I used an adjustable Ford wrench to support the gas valve as I loosened the male adapter. I'm installing the stainless steel male adapter because it's stronger, more corrosion resistant, and compatible with most other metals. This is the gas pressure regulator shutoff valve. It controls the flow of gas to the oven. Don't make the mistake I made. I toggled the valve to the shutoff position. Here's a close-up photo showing down for off. I'm using True Blue pipe thread sealant on the male pipe thread connections, not on the compression threads. If you're unfamiliar with a compression thread, it has an unthreaded cone tip. I spoke with the plumber installing the gas service line to the house, and he confirmed for me there is no torque value for plumbing fittings. Pipe threads are tapered. Apply a backing wrench to the regulator and tighten the fitting firmly. The sealant will do the rest. I thoroughly cleaned the excess sealant to prevent staining of my hands or clothes. Install the flexible gas line and tighten the compression nut with 2 wrenches to seat the cone fitting. Next, I installed the gas regulator support bracket. To make securing the regulator hands-free, I installed 2 screws into the rear stove panel to support the bracket. Then I installed the regulator mount bolts before I tightened any of the screws. With the regulator mount bracket secured, I removed my improvised support blocks and slid the stove until the gas line reached the shutoff valve. I'm swapping a brass for a stainless steel maladapter. To ensure a properly sealed pipe thread, I'm removing the original sealant so there's no chemical reaction between the old and the new. After installing the maladapter and tightening the compression nut on the flex line, the last step, plug in the stove. I had previously removed the flexible gas line to comparison shop for a new one. I matched them up at the warehouse to be sure that I had the correct sizes. The regulator was firmly mounted to the water heater. I was able to remove the brass fitting without a backing wrench. I installed the stainless steel maladapter and loosely installed the flex line. I made sure the line was routed properly with no twists or kinks before I tightened the line at the upper fitting. The next order of business was to replace the gas line on the furnace. The line is actually too short and very tight. Same rules apply: thread sealant, new stainless steel maladapter. The only difference here, I used a large crescent wrench to grab the square boss on the gas burner control valve as I tightened the fitting. I added a longer gas flex line so it's less prone to vibration damage. Here's a photo of the completed installation. Prior to turning on the gas at the meter, I checked each of the gas valves to be sure they were turned off. I slowly opened the gas valve and pressurized the meter and the gas lines up to the shutoff valves. As the lines quickly filled and pressurized, the meter stopped rotating. I monitored the meter dials for approximately 5 minutes. There was no rotation, so I entered the house and began a pinpoint leak check. I began my leak checks at the kitchen stove, first with the valve off, then with the valve on, checking all the joints and threads at both ends of the flex line. Next, I moved on to the furnace, checking the flex line couplings and fittings, and paying special attention to the shutoff valve. The leak detector alerted on the water heater shutoff valve on the high and low sensitivity settings. Before removing the shutoff valve, I took 2 steps. First, I shut the gas off at the meter. Next, I wanted to bleed the gas from the line, so when I removed the valve, I didn't allow the gas to escape into the house. To accomplish this, I tested the area around the burners with my gas detector and was assured there was no gas present. Then I turned on the stove and consumed all the gas in the lines. When the burners flamed out, it was safe to remove the gas valve. Then I disconnected the line from the shutoff valve and removed the shutoff valve. I used a copper pipe burnishing brush to clean the threads of the black iron pipe. I added thread sealant and a new shutoff valve, ensuring the handle was facing forward for easier operation. This time I used a pipe wrench for support as I tightened the valve. I added the maladapter and tightened the compression nut, verifying the line was not twisted. Once again, I performed a leak check on the valve, the fittings, and the line. Here's a close-up photograph of the completed installation. I removed the burner cover and the insulation so I could observe the pilot light as I ignited the hot water heater. I reinstalled the insulation and the cover and set the thermostat. Next, I lit the pilot light on the furnace, cleaned the reusable air filters, and reinstalled the covers. The final analysis, I had 2 of 3 leaking gas valves. Only one was detected by the gas company. I found the other. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something along the way. If you did, please like and share. And remember, subscribers are always welcome.